You've got it all figured out. Your world, your lore, your 1700-page plot broken up into 3 epics that would put Journey to the West to shame. And a crew of heroic protagonists so badass that they make Cloud Strife look like my dog by 11 o'clock in the morning. But something's missing, sweet mother of God, if only I could remember what it was. Oh, that's right, I just need to make the actual game. Welcome to a crap guide to drag and drop. So you go and punch how to make video games into Google. You decide to look at Unity, but it turns out that it uses this thing called C#, which seems like a high barrier to entry for somebody who spent their entire childhood about 3 inches from the screen of their Nintendo DS. You briefly consider taking Unreal Engine out for a spin, but it turns out that was what they used to make that weird Quarantino game that became a huge meme a few years ago, which you decide you want no part of, no thank you. And then you see a third option. GameMaker, made by YoYo Games, a small company of wizards on the east coast of Scotland. Great, you finally found something that does exactly what you need it to, without any outlandish claims for transmogrifying reality or even worse, world peace. So you buy it, download it, install it, run it, smash the new project button, and are faced with 2 options, drag and drop and GameMaker language. After thinking about it for all of about 5 nanoseconds, you decide that you'd rather make your game in English. Jesus, what kind of nerd would even choose the other one? I hope those dragons are ready to be dropped because it's time to start making our game. So now that you've created your empty project, you need to do something with it. You can run your game now, but if you do that, you'll find the screen is emptier than that party you went to when you were 16 that was hosted by that weird dweeb from math class, and then noped out of early because you thought reverse Polish was some kind of weird sex position. Oh, I'm sorry, were you trying to suppress that memory? So to start with, you need an object. You create an object, let's call it Johnny. You want Johnny to actually look like something, so this is where you put your artistic skills to the test and give him a sprite. There, perfect. This is gonna win us Game of the Year for art direction for sure. So you slap the sprite onto Johnny, slap Johnny in the room, and you're good to go. Well, that sucks. What a ripoff. This game is awful. This makes that 5-paragraph essay on the history of broccoli cultivation that you were putting off by making games sound exciting by comparison. Making games is supposed to be fun. Don't tell me I'm gonna have to do actual work. So this feels like a good time to take a step back and see if the internet can be of any use for once. But it turns out there's only about a quintillion results, and the first one sounds like it was made by some loser who's totally into reverse Polish, so you decide that's enough of that for today. You try to ask Reddit for help, but some dumbass moderator yells at you, but fortunately not before some other helpful people leave some comments trying to point you in the right direction. It turns out the computer does exactly what you tell it to do, and GameMaker has a system for these things called events, which is where you put the logic that you want to run when something of interest happens. Want to do something as soon as an object is created? Use the create event. Want something to happen when the player enters a new map? Use the room start event. Want something to happen when you obliterate an enemy and smear all of its individual atoms all over this very plane of existence? That's right, use the collision event. Want to make something happen when you hit one of the arrow keys on the keyboard? Well, you're in luck because you have 3 different keyboard events to choose from. 3! For almost every key on the keyboard. Holy moly, what are you even going to do with all this power? The screen is arranged like a graph from math class, except up is down and down is up because whoever invented computer screens decided that kids these days don't have enough problems in their lives or something. What this means is that if you want to move to the right, you just have to add something to the player's x-coordinate, easy enough, and to move to the left you have to subtract from it instead. But counterintuitively, this means that if you want to move up on the screen, you have to subtract from the player's y-coordinate, and if you want to move down, you have to add. Explain that one to my geometry teacher, you ass-backward computer people, I dare you! Gods above, this is just begging me to make an Australia joke, isn't it? You know what? No, I refuse. No Australia jokes. No Australia jokes! And you know what? That's great. You've got to start somewhere, and before you learn to run, you have to learn to walk, and all of those other useless platitudes that your 4th grade teacher drilled into your brain with the force, balance, and push of a fully charged... Now believe me, I'd love to go on and on and on about all the other things you can do in the wonderful, weird, and wacky world of making games, but I'm afraid our time here is running short. And more importantly, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get this video up before my hard deadline of the day between the last of March and the 2nd of April if I have to illustrate more than about 5 hours of it. Rest assured, if you've survived this ordeal and you find yourself wanting more for some ungodly reason, there are many other videos on my YouTube channel about all the other weird and wonderful and wacky things that you can do in GameMaker. Did I get those words in the right order? I fancy myself to be a bit of an arcanist, which is the technical term for graphics programmer, although I also occasionally find myself multiclassing as the designated engineer of the team, aligned firmly in the realm of chaotic evil. And if neither of those things particularly resonates with you, well then worry not, for as it turns out, there are plenty of other GameMaker YouTubers out there who might be more to your liking. From the Warrior...
If we run that now, hopefully we'll find It takes a bit of beating because, remember we gave this thing like 50 health last episode. We just hit it enough times, eventually it pops.
It's the Reverend.
So after locking the alpha channel, we'll draw the glowing ring sprite, the glowing supernova text, and the anti-aliased font. Then we can unlock the alpha channel again, reset the surface, and draw the surface.
You can even make games as the Pope, or at least with the Pope. How cool is that?
Thou shalt not use drag and drop.
As well as many, many others. And now you know how to use D&D. No, not that kind. You're welcome. Support my Patreon so my voice can recover.